So today we're taking notes on scale drawings. So scale drawing is a similar figure, but instead of triangles or rectangles, it's a map or a blueprint. It's something that's real. It's too large or too small to be drawn in its actual size. So we scale it down or we scale it up. So here's an example. A map is an example of a scale drawing. So a city and the streets would be too big to draw if we actually tried to draw them in their actual shape, but if we make a scale, then we can represent everything that we see. So the scale gives the relationship between the distance on the map and the actual distance. So when you look here, every 1 inch equals 833 feet in real life. So when you measure 1 inch of a street here, it's actually 833 feet in real life. We can use the scale on the map to find out the actual distance between cities and landmarks. To do this, we need to solve a proportion. So these are all proportional relationships. Whether we talk about similar figures or scale drawings, you have to solve a proportion to solve it. So here's the first example. On a map of Florida, the distance between Coral Springs and Fort Lauderdale is about 4.1 centimeters. The scale on the map is 1 centimeter equals 4.5 kilometers. What is the actual difference? So you first need to set up this ratio, the ratio of the map. Every 1 centimeter on the map is 4.5 kilometers in real life. So I'm going to write 1 centimeter is to 4.5 kilometers. And then over here, I'm going to have centimeters and kilometers. And I need to look back and see, what did they give me? Did they give me the actual distance in kilometers, or did they give me the distance on the map in centimeters? They gave me centimeters. So this is on the map. I need to put that up here. Centimeters are on the top. And I am trying to find X. I'm trying to find what is that in real life in kilometers. So we know how to solve proportions. We multiply across. Because of proportions, the cross product should be equal. So if I multiply 1 times x, that's 1x, which is here. I don't need the 1, it's an imaginary 1. And if I multiply 4.5 times 4.1, let's see what we get. You multiply it out, pause the video, multiply it, and then we'll compare our answers. So let's see, 1 times 5 is 5, 1 times 4 is 4. Then I have to have a 0 to hold the place when I go to the next line, because this represents that I'm not multiplying times the 1's place, I'm multiplying times the 10's place. So this is like 40 times 5 and 40 times 4. That's what that 0 helps me to do. But 4 times 5 is 20. I need a 0 here. I carry the 2. 4 times 4 is not 8, because you're not adding. It's 16 plus 2 is 18. And then how many decimal places? 1, 2. So I have to go 1, 2. So that equals 18.45 kilometers in real life distance. Okay, let's try the next one. I will help you set it up, and then you're going to solve it and ask myself or Ms. Gardner to come check it. On a map of North Carolina, the distance between Raleigh and Charlotte is 3 1/4 inches. The scale on the map is 1 inch equals 40 miles. Let's underline that. What is the actual distance? Okay, so you're always going to start with the scale that they give you. So when you set up your ratio, they told you 1 inch equals 40 miles. Now you need to look at the information that they gave you. Did they give you inches on the map, or did they give you miles in real life? Well, let's see. On a map, The distance between Riley and Charlotte is 3 1/4 inches. So they said on the map and they gave me inches. So I know for a fact it goes up here. Now, sometimes people don't like multiplying times fractions, and I can understand that. Let's see if we can change this from a fraction to a decimal. 1/4, what is that as a decimal? That might make it easier. So if you want to change this fraction part to a decimal, you could multiply here. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 1 is 13, so that's 13/4, and then you can divide 4 into 13. And I think I'm running out of room, so I'm going to work it out on here. You work it out in your notebook if you ran out of room. How many times will it go? Well, it will go 3. I have 1 left over, and I'm going to put a decimal here and a decimal here, and I can add a 0. And 4 goes into 10 twice. And it's a 2. 10 minus 8 is 2, and you add a 0 and bring it down. And 4 goes into 20 5 times. Minus 20 equals 0. So you could, instead of writing 3 1/4, you can write 3.25 for the inches, and then you find the miles. So now that it's set up, find your cross products, multiply, and find the actual miles, and then raise your hand for Ms. Gardner or me to check.